Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's cryptocurrencies update for Friday, December the 15th, 2023. First and foremost, I want to thank all my premium members. The crypto crowd is a fantastic crowd. I have very little problems with you guys. I must admit, you are tough-skinned. You know what it is to sit through 5–10% down days. Whereas the stock market folks scream, kick, and cry when we're down or up 2%. It is unbelievable. And I must really say, you guys are fantastic. And I couldn't do this without you. And I always appreciate having you on board, especially those that are in it for the long run, that understand that wealth is built over time, that are not in it for a quick gain, that want to learn and be on the phone with me and have a good conversation, because there's so much more to it than just these little simple updates once in a while. But again, thank you so much. This is, of course, the big picture, and we'll touch those in a moment. Okay, I'm just scrolling through this to go to the charts. And remember, there's many ways for you to use me to your advantage. Okay, it's a win-win. If you make money and it is I make money, so to say, right? That's just the way it is. So use me to your advantage. If you have questions, please let me know. And if these questions are, outside of what I normally provide, please expect me to also give you a quote on how much it will cost to do additional analysis. My time is valuable as much as is yours. So that said, this is the preferred wave count we are tracking for Bitcoin, that we have completed our local wave 1 top. Remember, I think 2 weeks ago, we were tracking a potential ending diagonal that should have topped at around, ideally, 41,000. Okay, well, we got 44,735. Now, if you go back even a month ago, we were looking still for a top around 40,000. So overall, I still think we got a very good estimate, ballpark estimate. We're off by less than 10% actually of what we forecast even a month ago. So that is, of course, the inherent uncertainties we're dealing with in the markets. You can never really nail it until you get closer and closer. Again, it's like the weather forecast. Try to forecast the weather 2 weeks out. You say it's probably going to rain somewhere around Wednesday, plus or minus 3 days, right? That's what you get. And then when you get closer and closer to that Wednesday 2 weeks out, and you get to, of course, to Monday, then you're pretty certain if it's going to be on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, or no rain at all. That's also possible, right? Weather forecast can change. There's no difference with forecasting this, because we're dealing with complex systems. Weather systems are complex, so are financial markets, because financial markets are made up of complicated parts. The complicated parts is all the information traders and investors get to deal with to determine if they should buy or sell or hold. That's really all there is to it. And humans are quite complicated. Now, that said, this is the Elliott Wave Count. If we drop below the previous green A low, I think that was on the 11th, 4 days ago, 40,180, we can then target anywhere between, I would say, 39,000 and 36,000 for this wave. A in red. We should then see a bounce back to ideally somewhere around 43,000. But remember, corrections of the second wave can be either a zigzag or a flat. So we can revisit 44,000. We can even go back to 47,000 and then drop lower. That I don't know. I've shown you the simple zigzag because we have to put something on the map, right? Or on the chart. That's all we can go by. Let's go with simple is best, as Einstein used to say. And then we project a drop to this, I would say somewhere around 37, 38,000, a bounce back to 42, 43,000, potentially 47,000, because the B wave in a flat, as you might know, is of course sometimes irregular. So I'll show you that. If you go to my website, you click on menu, you go to education, you click on Elliott Wave Principle, and then you can scroll down and check out all the different types of corrective waves. So here we have a zigzag, all right, A, B, C. That is, of course, let's see here, what we are currently tracking in A, B, C. Okay, and then, of course, we have the flats. All right, the flats are much more complicated. You have a regular flat, irregular, so the B wave makes a new high, right? That's what I mentioned. So we can go to 47,000, and then we drop back to pretty much where the A wave bottomed, or even lower. So we can have irregular flat, running flat, expanded flat. There are many ways this can go about, okay? That we just don't know yet, so we have to track it. So I think we have to be a little bit more on high alert and expect a little bit of the unexpected. These are the patterns we're looking for. And again, a zigzag can also become, of course, a double zigzag. No triangles, second waves cannot become triangles, okay? And of course, we have correction combinations. We will label them as a WXY, where we have a zigzag added to a flat. We can get a double zigzag. Don't know. We simply cannot know. We cannot predict the future. We can only go by what types of corrective patterns we should anticipate. Now, the alternative is that we have this accelerated wave count. We're going to 50,000 plus, okay? Now, the problem I have is with this wave count that this accelerated wave count doesn't match with the cycles we be tracking. And the cycles we have found through CryptoCon, right? Credit where credit is deserved. So we are tracking, of course, the same cycles. We publish it on Twitter, or X these days it's called. So we've applied it as well because it really, really works. This is something quite nice. That as long as it works, we'll keep tracking it. Anticipate, monitor, adjust, right? We anticipate it will work. We keep monitoring for as long as it works, and we'll adjust it if it doesn't work anymore. That's all we can do, right? Again, we can't predict the future, but we can go by what has happened in the past, and do we see that repetitive pattern now as well? So let's see here if I can move this little label higher there. So we can go back all the way to 2011, and here we call it, of course, the mid bull or the initial bull, whatever you want to call it. And you see here a dip at around February, okay, a high or low. Here we see a 2015, the early bull. We see a dip at somewhere around there, also February, okay. Same here at around March. All right, this is all in the early bull phase. There, you see this dip happening. And we are now in the same time frame. So we're now in the mid bull, right? Mid bull dip, all right? Mid bull, sorry, is the same here. Of course, we just started the mid bull. We get the dip here, this one. This is the one I'm looking for, okay? So I'm going there. I'm going to go there. This is what we are looking for. There. So we have the higher low. So this is right there. So we have here December, January. So we got the dip, and the same here, February. So we have only 3 cycles to go by. It's not much, and it's 3, but everyone saw a dip around February, March, and then a new run. Okay. Will take a little while before we go to new all-time highs. We might not see them in 2024, but you can see here that slowly get there. The other thing is, and this is again great work by CryptoCon on the waves of psychology. If you apply the same pattern over and over again, which are kind of based on the grief cycles of that have been published, it's simply emotional patterns, right? We go through capitulation, depression, disbelief, hope, belief, thrill, euphoria, and then we come again to complacency, capitulation, etc. You'll find that we're currently right here in this new hope phase, okay? Right there. We had the same here in 1920, right there. We had the same here 2015, right there, and 2011. So that matches, of course, with the cycles, right? It's the same cycles, hope, fear, disbelief. And that means we should see this dip, we should see this dip, we should see this dip. Please note, this is, of course, a log scale, okay? And here we can see we dropped here from 12 to about 5, so that was quite a big dip. Here we dropped from about 400 back to about 200, quite a big dip. Here we dropped from about 9,500 to about 3,500, quite a big dip. So we might expect here quite a big dip, all right, or drop before we rally. So that matches quite nicely what we're looking for, okay? From about 44,000 to 33,000. Oh, yes, we can go all the way back to 30,000. Okay, 28,000. As long as we hold above the September lows, it's fine. They're bigger drops than others, as history shows. So again, we see quite nice matching time cycles with emotional cycles, with price cycles. I like it, so we stick to this until it doesn't work anymore. This is what we anticipate, we monitor it, and as long as it works, and it's been working for quite a while, we stick to it. So that brings me to Ethereum. Ethereum has most likely also topped for this wave 1, should now be in this wave 2. It's kind of where Bitcoin goes, Ethereum goes, and vice versa. We've reached our upside target. Remember, at 2,400. I like it. We got 2403, I believe. Yesterday's high quite nicely where we had placed this B wave label. Remember, these are, of course, estimates. B waves can be even more complex, so we can still zigzag a lot around before this orange wave B is completed. But below our 2150 on a daily closing basis, I think we can start looking here for around 1900 plus minus 50 for this wave 2. But please remember, we can easily go to 1750, okay? We can even go to 1650. It can happen. I just cannot predict that yet. I have way too little information. So the first order for the bears is below 2150, 40 to be exact. And then we can target the 1900s. But please remember, second waves, like fourth waves or any other correction, are quite complex in nature. Just look at this one, how complex this one became. Of course, when we drop here, you cannot know how this is going about. That is the unfortunate nature of corrections. Impulses are a little easier. The alternative, similar to Bitcoin, is the accelerated move higher. It will be at 3,000 before you know it. Again, the four phases of Bitcoin argue against it. They do. We have three prior similar phases, the mid bull or the initial bull, whatever you want to call it. And those all saw a dip around February, March, in this case of 2024, before we move higher. And that brings us somewhere around this time frame. And as you know, and you can see, corrections take quite some time for the cryptos. All right, the impulses are fast and furious, and the corrections take a lot of time. Now that brings us to GBTC, and I know we're flip-flopping around between the two wave counts. Let me see if I can, not that one. If I can find the other one, is that we had the potential for quite a deep wave 4, and then this wave 5, and now we're kind of back to this one. I like it better. It just looks, everything looks toppy. For me, even for this, I wouldn't really try to squeeze out this last wave 5 of even a 3. I wouldn't want to squeeze it out. This is something, let it be. There are better setups in place, either here at around 26, 24, maybe 28, or if it will rally to here, then I think you can look at the 100% extension back here at around the 30s. I prefer the lower risk setups and not chase fifth waves because they're fraught to problems. So this is still a preferred wave count. I mean, massive negative divergence. So this is the third of the third wave, etc., etc. It looks pretty good. Lots of negative divergences. Now, divergences are conditions, they're not triggers. Let's look at ETHE. It made a new high yesterday, but didn't close higher. So we might apply this wave count here. Also here, lots of negative divergences. I don't like the chart in general. Looks to me a little bit too toppy. We need to see it though below 1770, and this wave, green wave 4 low, to really consider the top is in place. But again, the alternative is the accelerated wave counted. Right now, I don't see it. So even here we had this wave 5 previous high. It's fine. This could be an A, a B, and a C, whatever it is. It still looks all quite toppy to me. Solana, this one's giving me a little headaches. We made a higher high here. Could be a B wave. I mean, waves really look complete to me. I must admit, I cannot squeeze in more fourth and fifth waves. So I'll have to let this unfold a little bit. But again, it just shows you that these cryptos are strong. So sometimes I simply don't have the answers. And this is one of those occasions. Marah, on the other hand, well, the exotic subdividing 3-4, 3-4, 3-4, 3-4, 5 is filling in really nice. Remember, about 2 weeks ago, we switched over to the very exotic wave count and is filling in really nicely. This is working really nicely. I like it. So we had orange 4. I think we're gray 3. We get a gray 4, green. So far, so good. I like it. Now, please note we're getting to the stage where there is some negative divergence developing right there and a little bit here. So that starts to suggest this wave 4 probably is going to bottom here. Okay. And see here, if we extend this all the way here, I don't think we're going to go that high, by the way, but we'll just put it on the map. We're inside, of course, the uptrend channel again. So we get something like this. Maybe we'll do something nice in the middle, right? So of course, a little bit of estimation here. It's educated guesses. So we go something like this. And this is how you analyze charts. This is kind of similar width. No, not really. To move it a little bit more this way. Is this about similar width? Yeah, a little bit more that way. There we go. That looks pretty good. So then we get this, something like this. Wouldn't surprise me. Okay. So as long as we hold above support, we're good. The bears want to see it, of course, now go below here. That is the cutoff for this wave count. We go below here. I think we can watch for lower prices. But I like it. Wave count looks good. How we're doing on RIOT. Okay, RIOT, it's trying to break here above whatever level that is. Let me quickly put that on the map. There it is 1570. Okay, 1570. So it really needs to break above 1570 to target potentially as high as in the low 18s. Why? Because we have this potential triangle pattern here. And then the depth of the triangle breakout can reach that high. Okay. So this one has a little bit more work to do. But if we can get a close above, I would say $16, sorry, somewhere around there. Maybe try to move it a little bit higher there. That would be 1585. Let's be a little more accurate. I want to see it close above 1585. That'd be very nice. If we can close above 1585, there, symmetry target, we can go that high. Okay, potentially for 5. To be determined. But so far it's tracking along. I want to see it close above 1585, and then we can target 1820. Okay, then we have been moving quite nicely from each and every resistance level and support level. All right, all these symmetries. Okay, there we go. Good, good, good. Because look, this is same width, right? And then of course we had the same width, etc. So we're doing pretty good on this one. And that's really all I have for today. I think we're good. We simply now have to bide our time, see if this larger wave 2 will develop as anticipated over the next, I would say 2 to 3 months potentially. Yeah, things might take a little bit longer than we would like, but that's okay for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Again, the phases of Bitcoin tell us that in 2011, 15, 15, or 20 it was. So let's see, actually, yes, those years we got pullbacks in the mid bull or initial bull before we rallied higher, and that's what we're going to expect now. It matches our wave count with the wave 2 that we're tracking. If not, we'll get an accelerated move higher, but it doesn't match with what we have seen in the past. So that's why it's an alternative. That's all I have for today. Take care, trade safe, catch you all next week.